Jesus told this parable to his disciples. The kingdom of heaven will be like this. 10 bridesmaids took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish, and 5 were wise. When the foolish took their lamps, they took no oil with them, but the wise took flasks of oil with their lamps. As the bridegroom was delayed, all of them became drowsy and slept. But at midnight there was a shout, "Look, here is the bridegroom. Come out to meet him." Then all those bridesmaids got up and trimmed their lamps. The foolish said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out." But the wise replied, "No, there will not be enough for you and for us. You would better go to the dealers and buy some for yourselves." Later, the other bridesmaids came also, saying, "Lord, Lord, open to us." But he replied, and while they went to buy it, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went with him into the wedding banquet, and the door was shut. Truly I tell you, I do not know you. Keep awake therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour. This parable of the 10 bridesmaids, also known as the parable of the wise and foolish virgins, is a teaching from Jesus about preparedness, vigilance, and spiritual wisdom. It is a call to remain spiritually alert and ready for the coming of the kingdom of heaven, which can arrive at any moment, unexpected and sudden, like the arrival of the bridegroom at midnight. The 10 bridesmaids represent all who were invited to partake in the heavenly banquet, which symbolizes the fullness of life with God. The division between the 5 wise and 5 foolish bridesmaids speaks to believers' different attitudes and preparations in anticipation of meeting Christ, the divine bridegroom. Both groups had the same invitation, the same opportunity, and the same waiting period. What distinguishes them, however, is their level of preparedness. The oil in the lamps is often interpreted as a symbol of spiritual readiness, faith, good works, or the indwelling of the Holy Spirit. The wise bridesmaids, who bring extra oil, signify those who live in a state of continual readiness, nurturing their faith through prayer, sacramental life, good deeds, and an ever-deepening relationship with God. They understand that the journey to meet the bridegroom requires sustained effort and vigilance. They are prepared for delays, recognizing that the Christian journey is not a sprint, but a marathon that requires perseverance. On the other hand, the foolish bridesmaids symbolize those who take their faith lightly or neglect to sustain it over time. They carry lamps, which may represent an initial enthusiasm for the faith or a superficial acknowledgement of belief. But they lack the oil, the substance that gives light and sustains them through the dark and waiting times. Their lack of preparation reflects spiritual neglect or a failure to cultivate a living relationship with God. When the moment of truth arrives, they find themselves unprepared and unable to participate in the joy of the wedding banquet. The moment when the bridegroom arrives, unexpected and sudden, is a powerful reminder of the unpredictability of Christ's return or the end of our own lives. The closing of the door symbolizes the finality of that moment. Once it has arrived, there is no more time to make amends or prepare. The bridegroom's response, "Truly I tell you, I do not know you," reminds us that being known by God is not about mere appearances or nominal faith, but about a deep, abiding relationship cultivated through faithfulness, love, and commitment. This parable invites us to reflect on the state of our spiritual lives. Are we like the wise bridesmaids, attentive and prepared, or are we more like the foolish ones, distracted and complacent? It is a call to examine our readiness to meet Christ, not only at the end of time, but in the daily encounters, where he comes to us in disguise. In moments of grace, in the poor, in the suffering, and in the sacraments. It challenges us to live each day as if it were the day of his coming, keeping our lamps trimmed and burning with the oil of faith, hope, and love. Questions for spiritual growth. 1. What oil am I carrying to keep my spiritual lamp burning? How am I nurturing my faith and relationship with God in my daily life? 2. In what ways am I like the wise bridesmaids? And in what ways am I like the foolish ones? Where do I need to grow in spiritual preparedness? 3. Are there areas in my life where I have become complacent, drowsy, or unprepared for Christ's presence? How can I renew my commitment to staying spiritually vigilant? 4. How do I respond to times of spiritual delay or darkness when God seems distant? Am I prepared to endure these times with faith and perseverance? 5. How can I better stay awake to the movements of God in my everyday life? What practices can help me be more attuned to his presence? 6. Do I live with an awareness that each day could be my last, or that Christ could return at any moment? How does this awareness shape my actions, decisions, and priorities?